The red sky of planet Theta 7 burned like an open wound. Silverwing crawled between the black rocks, her white scales covered in ash to hide her glow. She was small for a dragon, only 3 feet from nose to tail. The others called her broken, defective. They chased her away when she was young. Now she lived alone in the volcanic wastelands, searching through battle wreckage for things to eat and trade. Today felt different. Silverwing smelled burning metal and something else, blood. She climbed over a ridge and saw it. A human dropship crashed in a narrow canyon. Smoke poured from the broken hull. The ship's engines were dead. No rescue would come to a place like this. She should leave. Kryn patrols hunted these areas. If they found her near human wreckage, they would kill her. But curiosity pulled her forward. Silverwing squeezed through a crack in the ship's side. Inside was dark except for flickering emergency lights. The air smelled wrong, thick with the sweet poison scent of Kryn weapons. Bodies lay across the metal floor. 9 humans in combat armor. Most weren't moving. Their suits were damaged, leaking that red fluid humans needed to live. Purple stains covered their skin where Kryn blades had cut them. Silverwing stepped closer. One human's chest moved up and down, still breathing. Then another. They were alive but barely. Her dragon instincts said to leave. Humans and dragons were not friends. The great dragon clans served the Kryn Empire. Humans fought against it. This was not her problem. Then one of them opened her eyes. A female human with short black hair and 3 stripes on her armor. A sergeant, Silverwing knew from watching other battles. The woman's dark eyes found Silverwing and went wide. Fear flashed across her face, then something else. "Oh, please," the sergeant whispered. Her voice was weak, broken. She tried to reach out but her arm wouldn't move. "Please, help." Silverwing froze. In all her years of scavenging, no one had ever asked her for help. Dragons mocked her. Kryn soldiers shot at her. Other scavengers chased her away from good salvage. No one wanted a defective dragon. But this human, this dying soldier, was begging her. Silverwing looked at the 9 bodies again. Someone had left them here. Their own people abandoned them in this crashed ship on a hostile world. Left them to die slowly from poison and wounds. She understood that feeling. The small dragon made a decision that would change everything. She grabbed the sergeant by the armor straps with her teeth and pulled. The woman was heavy, humans always were, with all their gear and equipment. Silverwing dragged her through the broken ship and out into the canyon. Her cave was 2 miles away, hidden behind a lava flow. She had made it her home after the other dragons exiled her. It was safe there. The Kryn never searched that area because the toxic fumes kept their patrols away. It took Silverwing an hour to drag the first soldier to safety. Then she flew back for the second one. Then the third. The moons of Theta 7 rose high in the sky as she worked. Her muscles burned. Her wings ached. But she kept going, making trip after trip through the dangerous canyon. When she finally dragged the 9th soldier into her cave, Silverwing collapsed from exhaustion. All 9 humans lay on the stone floor of her home. Most still hadn't woken up. The purple poison was spreading through their bodies. Silverwing knew some things about Kryn poison from her years alone. There were plants in the deep caves that could slow it down. Maybe stop it. She looked at the 9 dying soldiers and wondered why she was doing this. They would probably fear her when they woke up. Humans thought all dragons were their enemies. But the sergeant's word echoed in her mind, "Please." No one had ever said please to her before. Silverwing spread her wings and flew deeper into the caves to search for the healing plants. She had saved them from the canyon. Now she had to save them from the poison. 3 days passed in the darkness of Silverwing's cave. The small dragon worked without rest, grinding cave moss and purple flowers into paste. She forced the mixture between the soldiers' lips, hoping her knowledge was right. On the 4th morning, one of them woke up. The sergeant's eyes opened slowly. She tried to sit up but fell back with a groan. Her hand moved to her weapon, then stopped. The gun was gone. All their weapons were stacked near the cave entrance. "Don't move," Silverwing said in trade standard, the language both species used for basic communication. "Poison still in your blood. Need more time." The sergeant turned her head. Her eyes went wide when she saw the white dragon sitting nearby. You saved us?" "Yes." "Why?" Silverwing didn't answer. She wasn't sure herself. Over the next 2 days, the other soldiers began waking. There were 5 men and 4 women, all wearing the same torn armor with earth symbols. They were scared at first. One man reached for his weapon until the sergeant stopped him. "She saved our lives, mijo," the sergeant said firmly. "Lower your hand." The soldier called Miho stared at Silverwing with suspicion but obeyed. The sergeant introduced herself as Jaiwan Park. She pointed to each soldier as she spoke their names. That's Miho, our engineer. Daeho is our medic. Hyojin handles communications. Saman scouts. Jivan flies drones. Yunji is heavy weapons. Donghyun demolitions. And Nari is our pilot. Silverwing nodded to each one. They all looked at her like she might attack at any moment. My name is Silverwing, she said quietly. I won't hurt you. You're small, Miho said, then immediately looked embarrassed. Sorry? I didn't mean. I know, Silverwing interrupted. I am defective. Too small. Wrong color. My kind threw me away. Silence filled the cave. Daeho the medic moved closer carefully. You're injured, he said, pointing to old scars on Silverwing's wing joint. May I look? Silverwing hesitated, then extended her wing. No one had offered to help her before. Daeho's hands were gentle as he examined the damage. This never healed properly. It must hurt when you fly. Always, Silverwing admitted. I can help with that, Miho added. I fix things. Maybe I can make a brace for your wing. The small dragon felt something strange in her chest. These humans were offering to help her. What? That night, as Silverwing brought them water from a deep cave spring, Jaiwan spoke. Our command abandoned us. They said 9 soldiers weren't worth the risk of another dropship. Called us acceptable losses. They left you to die, Silverwing said. Yes. Jaiwan's voice was bitter. Just like your people left you. Silverwing sat down near the fire Miho had built. We are the same then. Thrown away. Maybe, Jaiwan said. But we're still alive. That counts for something. Over the following days, something changed in the cave. Daeho treated Silverwing's old wounds with human medicine. Miho built a lightweight metal brace for her damaged wing. Hyojin taught her some human words. Saman shared her rations even though food was running low. Silverwing showed them which cave plants were safe to eat and which water sources weren't poisoned. She taught them how to move through the volcanic terrain without being spotted by Kryn patrols. One evening, Nari asked, Why did you really save us? Silverwing thought carefully. The sergeant said please. No one ever said that word to me before. Like I mattered. You do matter, Yunji said firmly. You matter to us. The words made Silverwing's scales tingle. For the first time since leaving her dragon clan, she didn't feel alone. But that peace wouldn't last. On the 8th day, Jivan's drone picked up movement in the canyon. Multiple heat signatures approaching fast. Kryn hunters, Saman whispered, checking the drone feed. A full patrol. And something bigger with them. Silverwing's heart sank. She recognized the large heat signature. A war dragon. They had been found. The Kryn patrol moved through the canyon like shadows. 6 armored warriors with energy weapons, their insect-like armor clicking as they walked. Behind them came something much larger. A war dragon. Silverwing watched from the cave entrance, her body pressed flat against the rock. The war dragon was massive, 20 feet of bronze scales and muscle. She recognized him immediately. Blacklaw. One of the warriors who had beaten her and driven her into exile. How many? Jaiwan whispered behind her. 6 Kryn soldiers. 1 war dragon. Silverwing's voice shook. We need to run. Hide deeper in the caves. They'll track us, Miho said, checking his weapon's power cell. These caves only go so deep before the toxic fumes kill us. Daeho handed out the weapons they had salvaged from the dropship. Most were damaged but still functional. We're still weak from the poison. We can't fight a war dragon. Then we don't fight fair, Donghyun said with a grim smile. He was already pulling out explosive charges from his pack. This is volcanic terrain. Lots of unstable rock and gas vents. Silverwing turned to look at the 9 humans. They were preparing to fight. For her. To protect her cave. You should leave me, she said quietly. I'm not worth dying for. Jaiwan grabbed Silverwing's small claw. You pulled 9 dying soldiers out of a crashed ship. You spent days healing us. You fed us and protected us. Her eyes were hard as steel. We don't abandon our own. And you're one of ours now. The others nodded in agreement. Something warm spread through Silverwing's chest. She had a clan again. A strange, soft-skinned clan, but a clan nonetheless. Then we fight together, Silverwing said. They had 20 minutes to prepare. Donghyun placed explosive charges along the cave's volcanic vents. Saman and Jivan set up defensive positions with clear firing lanes. Hyojin rigged a communications device to emit false heat signatures deeper in the caves. Yunji positioned herself with the heavy plasma rifle at the narrowest point of the cave entrance. Silverwing would be the bait. She flew out of the cave as the patrol approached, making herself visible against the red sky. Blackclaw's massive head turned toward her immediately. Well, his voice rumbled like an avalanche. The little defective one. Still alive, crawling in the dirt where you belong. I belong here more than you belong serving the Kryn, Silverwing shot back. Blackclaw laughed, a sound like grinding stones. Bold words from a broken thing. I smell humans on you. You've been playing with pets. He moved closer, the Kryn soldiers spreading out beside him. The Empire will reward me well for finding both a rogue dragon and human survivors. You'll have to catch them first, Silverwing said, then dove back toward the cave. Blackclaw roared and charged after her, the Kryn patrol following. They poured into the narrow canyon leading to the cave entrance, exactly where Silverwing wanted them. Now! Jiwen shouted. Donghyun triggered the first explosion. A volcanic vent erupted, sending superheated gas directly into two Kryn soldiers. They screamed and fell. Yunji opened fire with the plasma rifle, cutting down another before they could react. Blackclaw burst through the smoke, searching for Silverwing. She dropped from above, raking her small claws across his eyes. He bellowed in pain and swung his massive tail. It missed Silverwing but smashed into the canyon wall, bringing down a shower of rocks. The remaining Kryn soldiers tried to advance but ran into coordinated human fire. Miho and Nari fired from one position while Saman and Jivan fired from another. Daeho and Hyojin threw salvaged grenades. Blackclaw shook his head, clearing his vision. He spotted Silverwing and lunged. His jaws snapped closed inches from her tail. But the metal brace Miho had built made her wings stronger. She could turn faster now, dodge better. You fight with humans? Blackclaw roared. You disgrace all dragons. They saw worth in me when no one else did, Silverwing shouted back. That makes them greater than you ever were. She led him toward the largest vent Donghyun had rigged. Blackclaw followed, blinded by rage. Silverwing dove aside at the last second. Donghyun triggered the explosion. The explosion threw Blackclaw backward into the canyon wall. Rocks crashed down on top of him. His roar of pain echoed through the wasteland, then went silent. The last two Kryn soldiers retreated, running back toward their base. Silverwing landed hard, her wings trembling. The 9 soldiers emerged from the cave, weapons still raised. They had won, but the cost was clear. Daeho was clutching his side where Kryn energy fire had burned through his armor. Yunji's leg was broken from falling rocks. The heavy plasma rifle was destroyed, melted from overuse. We need to leave, Saman said, scanning the horizon. Those soldiers will report back. More will come. We can't travel far, Daeho grimaced as Nari helped him sit down. Half of us can barely walk. Hyojin was already working on her damaged communications equipment, pulling parts from the broken Kryn weapons. Maybe we don't run. Maybe we call for help. Command abandoned us, Jiwen said bitterly. They won't come back. Not Command, Hyojin's fingers moved quickly, connecting wires. Everyone else. The colonies. Other fleets. The people. Miho understood first. You want to broadcast what happened. Tell everyone we're still alive. More than that, Hyojin said. A small smile crossed her face. I want to show them. Jivan still had his drone. His camera was functional. Over the next hour they recorded everything. The 9 soldiers standing together, injured but alive. Silverwing beside them, her white scales covered in ash and blood. The destroyed Kryn patrol. The crashed dropship in the canyon. Hyojin spoke into the camera, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. This is Communications Specialist Hyojin Kwan of the Terran Defense Coalition, 3rd Marine Division. Command designated us acceptable losses 8 days ago. Left us to die on Theta 7. She turned the camera to show each soldier. Sergeant Jiwen Park. Engineer Miho Choi. Medic Daeho Kim. Scout Saman Lee. Drone Operator Jivan Song. Weapons Specialist Yunji Han. Demolitions Expert Donghyun Yoon. Pilot Nari Shin. All still fighting. Then she pointed the camera at Silverwing. This is Silverwing. A dragon who saved us when her own kind threw her away. Who fed us and healed us and fought beside us. She's one of us now. Silverwing ducked her head, uncomfortable with the attention. Hyojin's voice grew harder. Command said 9 soldiers weren't worth the risk. But we're still here. Still alive. And if they won't come for us, we're asking you, the colonies, the people, to remember that we don't leave our own behind. She attached the message to a hijacked Kryn communications relay. The signal would bounce across multiple systems before reaching human space. It would take days. They waited. The message reached the outer colonies first, then the core worlds, then Earth itself. It exploded across every news feed, every communication channel. Footage of 9 abandoned soldiers fighting alongside a dragon spread like wildfire. People were outraged. How could command leave them to die? How could they call human lives acceptable losses? Protests erupted outside TDC headquarters. Colony governors demanded answers. Fleet admirals faced angry crowds. The families of the 9 soldiers spoke on every news program, demanding rescue missions. On Theta 7, the 9 soldiers and Silverwing didn't know any of this yet. They were preparing for the end. Jivan's drone detected massive movement from the Kryn base. Not just one patrol this time. An entire extermination force was coming. Dozens of soldiers. Multiple war dragons. Heavy weapons. They're going to wipe this whole area clean, Saman said, watching the readings. Make sure there's no evidence of dragons and humans working together. How long? Jiwan asked. 6 hours? Maybe less. The 9 soldiers checked their remaining ammunition. Almost nothing left. A few charges. Damaged weapons. They were exhausted, injured, running on nothing but stubborn will. Silverwing stood at the cave entrance looking at the red sky. This was where it would end. But at least she wouldn't die alone. It was an honor, she said quietly. The honor was ours, Jiwan replied. Then, high above in the atmosphere, something flickered. Ship drives. Dozens of them. Dropping out of slipspace. The first ship that broke through Theta 7's atmosphere wasn't military. It was a colony transport from New Sol, its hull painted with civilian markings. Then came another from the mining colonies. Then a merchant vessel. Then a passenger liner. Then the warships arrived. Destroyers, frigates, and cruisers dropped out of slipspace like avenging angels. Not just TDC military ships. Private security fleets. Colonial defense forces. Even some ships that looked like they had been pulled out of museums. Hyojin's damaged communication device crackled to life. This is Captain Lee Sang-hoon of the civilian vessel Morning Star. We're here for our people. All ships engage Kryn forces. Jiwan grabbed the communicator with shaking hands. Captain, this is Sergeant Park. How did you? Your message reached every human world, Sergeant. The captain's voice was warm. Billions of people saw what happened to you. Saw what you did. Nobody wanted to wait for official rescue. So we came ourselves. Tears ran down Jiwan's face. Sir, there's a Kryn extermination force moving toward our position. Ground troops and war dragons. Copy that. Ground support is already dropping. Hold your position. Drop pods screamed down from the sky, slamming into the volcanic terrain around Silverwing's cave. Armed civilians poured out. Miners with industrial equipment, colony security forces, even some farmers carrying hunting rifles. A woman in light armor ran up to them. Sergeant Park? I'm Lieutenant Yoon Myri, New Seoul Colonial Guard. We're here to get you home. The Kryn ground force arrived minutes later and the battle erupted. It wasn't a military operation. It was chaos. Hundreds of humans who had never fought together, coordinating through sheer determination. Miners used drilling lasers to cut through Kryn armor. Colonial guards formed defensive lines. The civilians from the transport ships provided covering fire. Above them, the space battle raged. The Kryn fleet had been caught completely off guard. They expected one planet. Instead, they faced ships from dozens of human colonies, all fighting with desperate fury. Silverwing stood frozen, watching humans pour from the sky to save them. To save her. Come on. Miho shouted, pulling her toward a drop pod. We're getting out of here. But the Kryn war dragons, Silverwing started. A massive bronze dragon emerged from the smoke, roaring challenge. Before Silverwing could react, 3 human gunships focused fire on it. The war dragon fell, crashing into the lava fields. We've got you covered, Lieutenant Yoon said, helping Daeho into the pod. All of you. They lifted off as the battle continued below. Through the pod's window, Silverwing saw something that made her heart stop. More humans were spreading out across the wasteland searching. What are they doing? She asked. Jivan checked his drone feed. There are other humans down there. Other soldiers who got left behind in different battles. Your message made people realize, if command abandoned you, they probably abandoned others too. The rescue fleet spent 3 days on Theta 7. They found 37 more soldiers scattered across the planet. All written off as acceptable losses. All still fighting to survive. The Kryn fleet retreated after losing half their ships. The human fleet celebrated. 6 months later, Silverwing stood in a clean white room on Earth. She wore custom armor that Miho had designed, lightweight plates that protected her small body without restricting her flight. The metal brace on her wing was now permanent, decorated with symbols from all 9 soldiers. Before her sat the Human Colonial Council. Hundreds of representatives from dozens of worlds. Silverwing, the council speaker said. You saved 9 human soldiers when you had no reason to help them. You've asked for nothing in return. What do you want from us? Silverwing thought about her answer carefully. My people called me defective. Your people called them expendable. Together we proved everyone wrong. She looked at Jaiwan, Miho, Deho, and the others standing behind her. That's worth building on. Let me be a bridge between humans and dragons who don't want war. The council voted unanimously. Silverwing became the first dragon liaison to humanity. The 9 soldiers formed a new unit, Silverwing Squadron, specializing in rescue operations. They never left anyone behind. And sometimes, late at night, Silverwing would look at the stars and remember the word that changed everything. Please. One small word that saved 9 lives. And started something bigger than any of them imagined. The end.